Justin Trudeau has really gotten into promoting a lot of conspiracy theories. And he is, I think, Canada's top conspiracy theorist.
Welcome back to Moose on the Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Pierre Poilievre absolutely destroying Global News. Now, Global News I found to be a little bit on kind of 50-50 with their woke garbage that they're spewing. Sometimes they do good reporting, sometimes it's woke garbage. No, it's not nearly as bad as CTV and CBC being the worst. Global News has received taxpayer funding according to Blacklock's reporter, which was reported on True North. I've got it here. You see this article from 2 years ago, Global News begs for government money as it faces imminent collapse. And this came from Blacklock's reporter. Basically, Chorus Entertainment, which is the group that owns Global News, they've basically said here that they've lost nearly 80% of their stock value in the Toronto Stock Exchange, and it's a money-losing business in television that is subsidized by entertainment programming. They complained of competitors who come in and take audiences. You can't just take an audience. If you're woke and paid off and you don't have the trust of the people, that's how you lose your audience. You have to be honest and credible. That's it. That's what news used to be in Canada. Like the CBC was the honest, trusted source. Everyone trusted the CBC because it was a trusted source. Now it's just paid off garbage. That's an arm of the government, the corrupt liberal government. With that said, let's jump into the interview here with Pierre Poilievre. The guy keeps asking him stupid woke questions and he just keeps crushing him on him. Like, you can't get Pierre Poilievre. The man is dialed in. He's smart. Don't even try it. Now, this interview focuses around what's going on here in BC with David Eby and the whole situation on the hard candy.
One of the things BC is attempting to do is put in treatment beds, but they've failed largely. They can't get enough nurses. They can't get enough facilities. What would you do differently to support provinces around treatment, and how would you ensure that the resources are there to do it properly?
The problem is that Trudeau and the NDP are spending all the money on radical activists and greedy, corrupt pharmaceutical companies, all of whom have profited off of this nightmare. And I would cut all of that. I'd stop funding the radical activists, bureaucrats, and pharmaceutical companies who are making a fortune and perpetuating their own industry. And I would put that money into real treatment and recovery so that we can detox, counsel, give group therapy, physical exercise, and bring our loved ones home drug-free.
Who are the radicals that you're describing?
All of the people that they're being funded by the NDP and Liberals to give out hard heroin-grade opioids and who have been advocating for this and profiting from this radical policy that no other place in all of North America is doing. So we need to cut off those radicals and fire the people, the NDP Liberal activists in the public health bureaucracy who have helped cause this mayhem and enabled Trudeau and Eby to bring in a policy that has killed 2,500 people in 1 year alone.
So in that vein, a radical would be Dr. Bonnie Henry. She has advocated to have a safer supply of drugs, to make this available for drug users.
I have to correct you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You seem to be repeating NDP Liberal talking points.
Well, I don't think they mentioned Bonnie Henry here, do they?
They do use the dishonest and inaccurate term and fully discredited term, safe supply, to
Yes.
if I could,
I appreciate this.
to describe unsafe heroin-grade drugs that everyone now admits, what they used to deny, are ending up in the hands of kids. That is not, whatever Justin Trudeau and the NDP say, that is not safe.
So you're correct on that. And we have seen a surge in diversion, and Global BC has done a huge series of stories on diversion.
I will give you credit, because Global has done some very good journalism on this.
So let's talk about regulated supply then. Let's use that term, because that's how the province wants to describe it. I know drugs aren't safe in most situations. So let's talk about regulated supply. Dr. Bonnie Henry has called for it. The chief coroner in BC, Lisa Lapointe, she just left her job, but she had called for it as well. What do you know that they don't know around the impacts around this regulated drug market? Do you know better than they do when it comes to this policy?
What kind of question is that? Do you know better? It's like a really backhanded question. It's arrogant. What kind of question is that?
I know what everybody knows. The result. The results
Checkmate.
are clear. The results are in. And it's been an absolute deadly disaster that has killed 2,500 people, for which Trudeau and the NDP and all of the activists and bureaucrats that work for them are to blame. We need to cut off the corrupt pharmaceutical companies, the Liberal NDP bureaucrats and activists, and put all of the resources into treatment and recovery to bring our loved ones home drug-free.
Are you worried about finding the nurses, the space? Our healthcare system everywhere is already
That's
taxed.
true.
Like how challenging will that be to find that part of the healthcare system the support it needs?
Oh, it'll definitely be a challenge, and that's why we need to get rid of all of the money that we're wasting on NDP, Liberal activists, on corrupt pharmaceutical companies that are profiting off of this death and misery, and put all of those resources into treatment and recovery. We also need to sue the pharmaceutical companies rather than giving them more tax dollars, to hold them accountable and collect millions and hopefully billions of dollars in liabilities from them for having caused this in the first place. The Americans have collected $54 billion from Big Pharma because of the opioid crisis. In Canada, the NDP and Trudeau, they don't collect money from pharma. They're giving them more money to profit them by buying even more of the heroin-grade opioids and give them out in our streets. That is radical, and it is deadly.
We've also seen an increase in crime linked to all of this. The stories are well told. The last time we had a conversation, you brought up the example of an individual who has been arrested again and again and again. Yeah. We just saw a case recently in British Columbia. We don't know if it's drug related, but somebody who stole a car, violent carjacking, got put behind bars, got released the next day, did the same thing.
So I covered this on my second channel if you want to hear the story. It's actually more than that. They arrested the guy. He got out the next day on bail. They arrested him again. He got out the next day, then did a home invasion, and then a carjacking. He caused a car accident between two cars, and he stole 3 cars and a home invasion. This is all in Victoria, BC.
Again, the bail reforms that Ottawa's brought in are clearly not working here. Would you bring in the notwithstanding clause to use your powers if Prime Minister to change those bail conditions to stop this catch and release system that's currently in place?
I don't have to, because the catch and release system was not brought in by the courts. It was brought in by Justin Trudeau and the NDP through Bill C-75, and it was not required. No court has ever required they create a catch and release bail system. Now, my common sense plan is to make repeat violent offenders who are newly arrested on a serious crime ineligible for bail. It will be jail, not bail, jail, not bail.
Is there any point that you would use the notwithstanding clause to address the challenges within our current legal system and the way the courts are designed?
I think we have to be careful not to blame the judges for decisions that Justin Trudeau and the NDP have made. Trudeau willingly passed Bill C-75, catch and release bail. He willingly passed C-5, house arrest for career car thieves and sex offenders. He willingly passed Bill C-83, which allows Paul Bernardo to go into a medium security penitentiary where he enjoys hockey rinks and tennis courts. Those are decisions he made. Nobody forced him to make it. And the NDP was there to drive the getaway car every single time.
It's just egregious what Justin Trudeau has done. Like, in what world do any of those laws make sense? Like, car thieves, just put them in jail. Why would you give Paul Bernardo more freedom? It's just, this notwithstanding clause garbage. Like, come on. They're trying to find any little way to paint Pierre as this guy who's going to invoke the Emergencies Act. That's what they're trying to push here with the notwithstanding clause, which is a clause that, here, I'll read it off. It is commonly known as the notwithstanding clause, sometimes referred to as the override power. It allows Parliament and provincial legislatures to temporarily override sections 2 and 7-15 of the Charter. The reason why they're pushing that is it's a way to try to scare Canadians that, oh, Pierre's going to come in and override everything. It's like, no, Trudeau actually did that with the Emergencies Act. He actually invoked that and took away people's bank accounts. So let's just cut to the chase of who's actually doing this stuff. Pierre's not going to do this stuff. He doesn't need to do this stuff.
Full well decrim has been a massive issue in BC. It is influencing the way that voters are thinking as we head to an election in the fall. You're also aware that we have two parties very much opposed to it like you are, BC United and the Conservatives. Do you have any intention to get involved in provincial politics, considering right now if you look at polls there's going to be vote splitting that will open the door for David Eby to get re-elected? Do you have any plan to tell Conservatives in British Columbia which of those two parties you prefer?
Eby is not getting re-elected. Let's get real. I just put up a video the other day talking about the BC Conservatives are now leading in the polls for the first time in 50 years in BC. So the vote splitting is not going Eby's way.
I don't. I think that the people of BC should reject the radical and costly carbon tax, catch and release, and legalization of drugs that both the BC NDP and Justin Trudeau are imposing, and elect a common sense government to replace both of them in BC and here in Ottawa.
You talked about costly. Pipeline politics is big in BC as well. The Trans Mountain Pipeline just started moving things yesterday. Huge delays largely caused by the BC government.
Yeah.
If you were Prime Minister, what would you do around energy projects? Would you go back to the table to some of those projects that the Prime Minister rejected when it comes to moving oil out of Alberta?
Of course he would.
Well, you can't. So you need companies to do that. So I can't force a company to come back and and put aside billions of dollars when they've already been ripped off by the government. But what I will do is repeal Trudeau's unconstitutional anti-resource law, Bill C-69, so that we can stop sending dollars to dictators abroad and instead bring paychecks for our people at home. So I will approve pipelines, mines, forestry, nuclear, hydroelectric dams, so that we can unleash production of our resources instead of the NDP Liberal policy, which is to encourage more pollution around the world by buying the resources from dirty dictators abroad.
Alex Jones, well-known commentator in the States, has said that he would like to see you as Prime Minister. He endorses you. He's also someone who peddled conspiracy theories around the murder of children at Sandy Hook Elementary. Do you accept?
This is embarrassing. Stop with this woke garbage. Just stop. This is embarrassing to Canadians.
Accept his endorsement, the idea that he would like for you to be the Prime Minister?
No. And I don't listen to his, I don't listen to him. The only person that talks about and promotes him is Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau has really gotten into promoting a lot of conspiracy theories. And he is, I think, Canada's top conspiracy theorist. And this is from a guy who dressed up in racist costumes so many times he can't remember them all, who is now causing death and destruction by legalizing crack, heroin, and cocaine in BC, who lets out repeat violent offenders, says he admires the basic Chinese communist dictatorship, has doubled our national debt, doubled housing costs, now wants to force a 61 cent a litre carbon tax on Canadians. That's the kind of radical extremism that we have in our Prime Minister, and he is the one that should reject his and repent for his radicalism, so that we can bring home a common sense government that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you.
He brought up that stupid Alex Jones question and Pierre just crushed him. Anytime Pierre gets asked dumb questions, he just goes full force and brings all of the facts in and just dumps it on there like a dump truck. A dump truck of ownage. You heard it there from Pierre Poilievre. Justin Trudeau is the conspiracy theorist, which is very much true. Justin Trudeau just spewing garbage across our country, and obviously these paid off reporters, they're like, get the list of questions. Okay, ask him about Alex Jones. Ask him why, is he going to bring up the Charter of Rights and invoke God, these interviews are embarrassing. Now, speaking of woke garbage, check this out. In the UK, the London Mayor Sadiq Khan introduced ULEZ, a scheme to charge £12.50 a day for any cars that don't meet emissions standards. That is gross, man. How does that help anyone who doesn't have enough money to buy a Tesla or whatever? That is ridiculous. So It's this poll that...
Oh, look at this, folks. Reports flooding in here this morning. We're going to go around after it's been a purge out there last night after this election, folks. So, yeah, we're going to go around and get you a little video of all of them. But, yeah, one
It was a poll.
here in Ickenham. That's number one for you.
I don't understand a word that this guy's saying, but okay, I can understand what half the words.
Folks, we'll see how many we get, eh? Oh yes, here's number 2 for the morning, folks, here on the Ricky Road up in Northwood. No messing around, the boys are voting properly. They didn't waste their time going and putting an X on a bit of paper. They've been out voting, real voting. Oh, look at this one, folks. This one's going green. It's escaped here into the bush. Number 3 in the morning. Bit of a purge here in Hillingdon last night, so yeah.
So there's 4, there's 5, there's 6. Yeah, they went around, they cut down 6 of these things. Yeah, the citizens are not liking that. We got to fight back against this woke garbage. This is nonsense. And this doesn't help people get more environmentally friendly cars. It just punishes people who don't have as much money to buy a new car. Next up, we got a video here where the Brampton Food Bank put up a sign declining to serve international students.
Food banks have never been as important as they are today. In March, 2 million people used a Canadian food bank. But now some food banks aren't accommodating everyone anymore, and one type of client may no longer be welcome.
Is all these young kids coming with their backpacks saying they want help.
Here at St. Louis Outreach Food Bank in Brampton, students from outside the country aren't served anymore.
But they're just raiding anywhere to get anything they can. We can't handle that, you know? Everyone's running out of food.
Food Bank has a whiteboard out front during opening hours. It says government regulations allow it to exclude international students. International students coming to study here, that they be self-sufficient. Kenny, a Nigerian student who says he has a wife and daughter, showed up for food. He asked that his face not be shown. I asked why he didn't come with enough money.
I had a projection of how I was going to spend the money I came in here with, but probably I didn't plan well. I don't know if I didn't plan well. I don't know if the economy was the opposite of what I thought it was.
The food bank's board president says they were told some international students have money in the bank.
There's been a lot of abuse with people that come with $50,000-$60,000 in the bank, and they just want to get free food.
With 2,600 local families to help feed, she says the international students are too much. Food banks have seen foreign videos like this one online, describing food banks as a place to get free food.
So it's kind of a trend now that everyone's actually been advertised to just come here and immediately come to our doors. And we are bombarded.
At this point, the food banks should just be looking at a birth certificate or passport as like a Costco card to get food, to get all these people to stop using our free services that they've never paid a dime into in their entire life. The guy showing up with a wife and kids, like this person says here, international student with wife and kids. These are not students. These are people who lied to get in and now won't leave, making everything harder for everyone else. Yeah. Next up, we're seeing a flood of people leaving Canada. You see these videos everywhere. A lot of people moving down to Mexico, some people down to the States, some people over to Portugal or Spain.
More and more Canadians are waving goodbye to their homeland.
For the size of our population, there's a huge amount of Canadians kind of no matter where I go.
And moving abroad, uprooting for reasons including housing and healthcare.
I've been priced out of my own country. And on top of that, the waits for services, for example, especially medical services, is really, really pathetic.
The latest data estimates around 4 million Canadians live abroad, roughly 11% of the country's population. That number a huge increase, a 36% jump from the number of Canadians who lived elsewhere in 1990. More than 1 million Canadians, that's over 1/3, live in the U.S., with 300,000 in Hong Kong and more than 70,000 in the United Kingdom.
There you have it, 4 million Canadians living abroad, but this is 2016. Like, we've had the pandemic and Trudeau and the whole thing, so there's got to be a lot more than 4 million now. We look at the comments here. A real patriot would stay and work to better their country. Because Trudeau's government has effectively launched a quiet social, political, and economic war against the Canadian citizen, and flight is a reasonable response. Canadians are heartbroken what is happening in our country. Sick of the taxes. Next up, we got a video here from Karima in Toronto. This is Palestine protesters at one of the university campuses. But this is not what the video is about. This is, just watch. This is a great video.
Excuse me? Can you tell me what you were adjusting on the fence?
I wasn't adjusting anything. I was clearing out the middle of the shell because I am from the Netherlands and there are no squirrels there. So I have this half to trick the squirrels into thinking I have a nut, and then he can get close and my sister can take a picture.
You guys made my day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Have a nice day.
Finally, something good happening at one of these Palestine protests. And like, how do people even live near those areas? This banging the drums and all that garbage. I would absolutely pop my lid if I was living around there and I was trying to film these videos, or I was trying to do homework or work online or whatever it may be. The banging, the drums, all that stuff needs to be banned. All this crap's going to get cleaned up once Poilievre gets in power. If we look at the comments here, oh my God, that was precious. A bit of beautiful innocence amidst the chaos. Maybe we aren't completely screwed after all. No squirrels in the Netherlands? Well, I guess you learn something new every day. I did not know that. I didn't know that either. Girl is rocking a Diagolon shirt. It's a shield. It's like a crest of a shield. It's not Diagolon. Paid actor. Next up, we got a post here of Loblaws. This is No Frills, specifically Ottawa. Saturday, May 4th, 5 p.m. 20 customers in the store. Wow. Look at this. Galen Weston and his little den of thieves there have got to be having some meetings about this. Like, oh, what are we going to do? Everyone's going now to Dollarama to buy their $2 ketchup instead of buying our $8 ketchup. What do we do? If you go through the comments here, some people say, you know, Superstore business as usual. It seems to be more selective where this is happening. Next up, we got a clip here. This is hilarious. This self-checkout machines are asking for a tip. I don't know where this is, but this is getting ridiculous.
Check this out. You grab your food yourself. You scan it yourself. You check out yourself, and it asks if you want to leave a tip. Who am I tipping? Myself?
What is the world coming to? They think somebody might hit the button and give them extra money? If you click other and type in a negative number, it'll be forced to tip you instead. Next up, I found this clip here. It's hilarious. It says, this new filter turns you into a liberal. It's so accurate. Hell no. Come on. Okay, we can't have that music on there, but... Woke till you're broke. Make asylums great again. Let's jump over to my group now for some memes. Mommy, Pierre called me a mean name. Go tell your father. Castro. What did he call you? Well, quit your crying. He wasn't wrong, wacko. Everyone on the internet today, I'm a Star Wars. If you didn't see the Justin Trudeau Star Wars video, it's ridiculous. It's on my second channel. There's a couple clips of them there. It's just embarrassing. It's the most cringe thing on planet Earth. If you're offered $10,000 to vote Liberal, would you take the money? No, never. Never ever vote for Liberal ever again. Subway, I've been waiting here hours and still no train. Suit 12,000, Rolex 25,000, Jagmeet saying he's not working for you. Yeah, shoes 2,000, yeah. I think he's addicted to power and feeling like he's more valuable and more commanding than other people. I don't know why else you would want to wear the Rolex and the fancy suit. You just, it doesn't match the image, man. 9-year run, Wacko and his fabulous whack jobs. This is too creepy. Here are all their hits: frozen bank accounts, frozen heart. You won't get on that plane. You won't get on that train. I love you more if you weren't born here. I don't know what I'm doing at all and more. All seats $99 plus seat taxes, carbon taxes, music taxes, GST, HST, LGBT, and all applicable entertainment fees. That's funny. Can Canada handle another year and a half of this clown? Yeah, good question. 130,000 flights per day, but you're the problem because you drove to the store. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Well, that does it for this episode. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about Pierre Poilievre ripping that woke reporter. Just more garbage. Like, obviously, it's a list that was sent from Trudeau or Trudeau's office. Like, oh, you ask him about Alex Jones. Ask him about, like, oh, it's just gets so embarrassing at this point to even just stop. The Trudeau Liberal government will be the end of mainstream media. That is what's happened here. I mean, Catherine Tate, she has run that company CBC into the ground, yet she's still got her big bonuses. She's cashing in before she gets fired, and she knows it. She's going to get fired. That's why she has no problem taking her bonuses, and she'll retire or whatever, go on to be worthless in some other company. CTV seems to try to play it back and forth with especially with the Vasi power play thing. But sometimes Vasi's on both sides too. They've been heavily paid off as well. So it's just, once you lose the trust of the audience, guys, it's game over for your big corporation there. With all that said, I'll keep bringing you guys the honest, true, real news that's going on in Canada. We're going to keep fighting for freedom till we get it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications. If you want to check out some merch, that's linked up down below or in that shelf thingy. I'll see you guys on the next one.